Hey, what's up? So today we're talking about 5 reasons why Seattle is such an amazing place to live, and then 3 things about Seattle that you might not like. So buckle up, we're going for a ride. Hang on. If this is your first time to our channel and you want to know about the good and the bad about living, working, and eating and drinking in Seattle, then you're in the right place. I'm Aaron Wilder, a Seattle native, and I get calls every day from people moving to the area. So if you're moving to Seattle today, tomorrow, next week, next month, or next year, give me a call, shoot me a text, or send me an email. I'd be happy to help you make the easy move to Seattle. So the number one thing about Seattle is that it's got a thriving job market. So whether you're looking for work as an office worker or a tradesman, white collar or blue collar, Seattle and the surrounding areas, it has tons of opportunities. We got the big companies. We got Amazon. We got Microsoft. We got Google. We got Facebook. We got Boeing. If you don't like those big companies, we got tons of startups, independent companies that, sell products to those big companies. It's not just white collar. It's carpenters, electricians, plumbers, painters. We have some of the highest salaries in the nation. The median household income in Seattle is $115,000. There's no income tax. Seattle has some of the strongest worker protections in the nation. They got a high minimum wage and lots of protections for workers. So really great place to come and kick off a career. Number 2 reason you want to live in Seattle: great access to the outdoors and other locations. Seattle's got mountains, lakes, rivers. You got the Puget Sound, a couple hours from the ocean and a couple hours from Mount Rainier National Park. So you got hiking, snow skiing, water skiing, boating, sailing. You got dozens of golf courses. Seattle's got it all. If you can't do it in the city, then a 60 to 90 minute drive will have you away from it all and deep in nature. You also have proximity to other locations. You got the San Juan Islands, Whidbey Island, Bainbridge Island. You got a ferry ride. You can get to Victoria, BC. You can drive across the mountains. You can go check out Leavenworth, cool little German town, perched up in the mountains. Great place to go for Oktoberfest. Also another awesome place to go for Christmas. You're also right next to SeaTac International Airport. 2-hour flight gets you to LA, the Bay Area, Vegas, Phoenix, Portland. You can also get to Hawaii pretty easily, and Seattle's a good jump-off spot if you like to go explore Asia. Obviously, that's a longer flight, but if you're going to Asia, you're probably flying through Seattle anyways. So there's just a ton of stuff to do here. In the summertime, you go down to Lake Washington or Lake Union, you're going to see all kinds of people out on the water. They're going to have their sailboats out. They're going to have their jet skis. They're going to have their sailboards. It's just going to be packed. And when you drive through the middle of Seattle, you can see that all from the freeway. Really cool shot there. If the water's not your thing, you can hop on I-90 and you can get out to the Cascades really quickly and do all kinds of hiking. There's alpine lakes. There's all kinds of stuff to do, really deep forest, wooded area. And then you can go the other way. You can go across the Sound to the peninsula and you can go to the Hoh Rainforest. So Seattle's really got a lot of different opportunities to get outside and do some stuff that you can't do in other places around the country. So number 3 reason you want to live in Seattle: arts and culture. We got all the major institutions you would expect from a big city. We got the Seattle Symphony, Pacific Northwest Ballet. They're well known for their Nutcracker suite that they put on during the holidays. We also got the Seattle Opera, the Seattle Art Museum. That's the Hammering Man, if you ever seen the sculpture. Anyways, Seattle attracts big name artists. We had Taylor Swift here on the Eras Tour. We've seen Jay-Z and Beyonce come to town. Drake, legends like Bob Dylan, Willie Nelson, the Rolling Stones, and Paul McCartney. We also have some great outdoor venues. The Gorge is well known. That's about a 2-hour drive. They bring in all the big names. This summer they're going to have the Red Hot Chili Peppers. They got Willie Nelson with John Cougar Mellencamp. We also got, outdoor venues in town at the winery and at the zoo. They do summer concert series that are very, very popular. If you don't like those big shows and the big name artists, we also got tons of local art shows, local live music, and other performances. So the local clubs, they bring in the up and coming local musicians. They also bring in up and coming musicians from around the country. So there's a lot of great stuff going on in Seattle. You know, if you look at the calendar, you could probably find multiple things that you wanted to do every night. One of my favorite spots is Jazz Alley. That's a jazz club. We've seen countless jazz legends there. We've also seen some newer jazz artists that we didn't really know about, and we've become fans of some of these new groups. So there's a ton of stuff to do in Seattle. You got the big activities, you got smaller activities, you know, just kind of runs the gamut of all the arts and culture you could take in. Number 4 reason you want to move to Seattle, sports. Near and dear to my heart. So Seattle has most of the sports that you would want to see in the big city. For pro sports, we got Major League Baseball, that's the Mariners. We got the NFL, that's the Seahawks. We got WNBA, the Storm. They brought multiple championships to the town. We also have the Sounders. I don't know anything about soccer, but I know that that's really popular. We also have the NHL, which is the Kraken, a new team in town. They've been here, I think this is their 3rd season. I've been to a couple games. That's a really good time. They're very, very popular. You're going to see a lot of Kraken sweaters around town. The one thing that is missing, about 10 years ago, the Sonics went vamoose. We won't mention that. That's a sore spot for a lot of NBA fans in town. But there is, you know, talk of NBA coming back to Seattle. So that's kind of the one hole. If you're a Major League Baseball fan, you got to go check out the Mariners. They call it, what do they call the stadium now? I don't even know. They changed the stadium name, T-Mobile Park, I think. Used to be Safeco Field. They change that name all the time with the corporate sponsorships. But that is a beautiful stadium. That is a great place to go spend an evening, or even better than spending an evening, go on a Sunday for a day game. All kinds of food options, really great spot. I love going and checking out the Mariners. Also, going to see the Seahawks live. That's going to be a little more pricey. It's hard to get in. They sell out. They're very popular. But if you're here during football season and you're an NFL fan, I would highly recommend trying to go see the Seahawks. That's going to be a stadium experience that you've never seen before. The Sounders also, they fill up the same stadium as the Seahawks. Very, very popular. They get the scarves up and do all that. We also have college sports. The big college team here is the University of Washington Huskies. They played the national championship last year for college football. You know, they're moving to the Big Ten, so you're going to see a lot of primetime college sports coming through town. You're going to see teams like Ohio State. You're going to see Michigan, those other Big Ten teams. You also got UCLA, USC, teams like that. So college sports is big here. The Huskies are the big team. It's also a hot spot for high school basketball. There's been countless future NBA players coming out of Seattle high school programs. So if you like high school basketball, which a lot of people do, there's tons of talent here. It's really fun to go on a Friday night, go check out the up-and-coming stars. Talked a little bit about golf earlier. Another thing that's really important to me, I'm a big-time golfer. So every year, they got the Senior PGA Tour coming through here at the Snoqualmie Ridge Golf Course. They do a tour stop. So that's a good time as well. Usually the weather's great. It's in August. Weather's perfect. You get tons of stars coming through that, guys that you know from back in the day. So that's a good time. We also had the U.S. Open here in 2015 at Chambers Bay. So tons of stuff going on with sports. And then if your kids play sports, there's tons of leagues. There's parks, there's fields. We got it all. Seattle's a great sports area. Reason number 5, you might want to move to Seattle, and this one is going to be controversial. Not everybody's going to agree with me, but I'm going to double down on this. It's the weather. So you've probably heard about Seattle's cloudy and rainy reputation, and that reputation is well earned. But what you don't hear about, and which a lot of locals are probably going to be upset that I'm sharing this, the best kept secret about Seattle is how it starts stacking up great weather days between May and October. There's something called a golfer's index, and a golfer's index measures the good weather days in a location. We consider a good weather day to be between 60 and 80 with less than 70% humidity. And you guys might be surprised to learn, but Seattle is actually number 4 on that list in cities in the United States. So once July 4th rolls around, you're practically guaranteed 100 straight days of phenomenal weather. In the fall, the temperatures are going to be, between 50 and 60. In the spring, it's going to be in the 50s and 60s. In the winters, we're looking at like the 40s and 50s. But in the summertime, it's going to be 70 and 80 and not very many days in the 90s. So when people in the South and the East Coast and the Midwest and parts of California are sweating it out, we're going to be chilling in our backyard, grilling it up in that nice 80-degree weather. The other thing that you might not realize about Seattle is we're pretty far north. So we got really long summer days, which is everybody here loves. The sun will be up at 5 a.m. and it doesn't go down till almost 10 p.m. And if you think I'm lying, you got to come and check it out. In the winter, it's kind of dark, it's kind of rainy. It can snow a little bit here and there, not too often, but you just got to break up that monotony and you got to book a couple sunny getaways. So the weather in Seattle is pretty phenomenal. You guys should come check it out. We just wrapped up the 5 things that are really great about Seattle that would probably make you want to move here. There's some things that aren't so great, so we're going to get into those. Top 3. Number 1, traffic. So according to Axios, Seattle has the 7th worst traffic in the country. The mountains, the water, the lakes, and the hills that Seattle is known for, all these really great geographic features that make Seattle an awesome place, also make it hard to get around. The infrastructure is challenging to build when there's lots of water, lakes, and hills. Seattle is sort of known for its bridges and tunnels, but it just makes getting around more challenging than if we were on a grid. You know, Seattle's not like Atlanta or Phoenix, where we can just keep building out and out and out. There's lots of geographic boundaries. So rush hour traffic in Seattle can be challenging. That could turn a 30-minute drive into a 2-hour slog. For a long time, we've had the light rail, and they've been working on expanding that. It's been a great option to get from downtown to Seattle to the airport. You can do that really quick. You can avoid a lot of traffic. They expanded that to the north end of Seattle a few years back. That's made getting around the north end to downtown really easy. And in August of 2024, they're opening up another line that's going to go up to the northern suburbs. So that's going to turn what would be like an hour drive into Seattle at rush hour. That's going to turn that into about a 32-minute ride on the light rail. So this light rail expansion is going to be key to getting around in Seattle in the future, going to really ease the burden. Eventually, they're going to connect Seattle and Bellevue with a light rail, and that's going to really be a game changer. So if you hate traffic, you know, one of the things you really got to do is make sure you live close to where you need to be, close to where you work and play, and then organize your life to travel at off hours. I know that's not always possible, but with, you know, work from home, hybrid work schedules, a lot of people are, you know, making that change to travel when it's not rush hour. You know, rush hour is not going to really be a lot of fun for most people. Me personally, I don't really care about traffic. It's never bothered me. I just get in the car, turn on my tunes, make phone calls, and do my thing. But, you know, I know a lot of people really don't like traffic, and this is going to be one of the major downsides of living in Seattle. The traffic can be a burden. Number 2 reason why you might not be so excited about Seattle, the housing prices. Median house price in Seattle right now is about $850,000. So Seattle is definitely not an inexpensive place to buy a home. But we got the booming economy, the great job market, the growing population, and geography that puts a premium on those key housing locations. Seattle home prices are not likely to go down over the long term. They've been very stable, and they've been going up for a long time. If you can't afford a house in Seattle, you know, think about buying a condo or a townhouse. Those are going to be good in-town options that are going to have a lower cost for you. But there's other options outside of Seattle as well. If you want a house with a yard and a fence and a driveway, there's a lot of cities and towns with their own urban centers. It's easy to get into Seattle and enjoy all it has to offer, especially on the north end with the light rail expansion. Housing prices are really high, but if you're willing to travel a bit, you can find something that's really going to work for you. Number 3 reason why you might not be in love with Seattle. It's the weather. And I know I said this was one of the reasons you might want to live here before, but sometimes people can't deal with that doom and gloom from November to April. They get the winter blues, or what people call SAD. Seasonal affective disorder. That's what SAD is. I get it. You know, when December rolls around, I start looking at real estate in California, Arizona, and Texas, and I'm telling my wife that we're going to sell our house and move somewhere that's sunny all year round. Now, then I start looking at those summer temperatures, and I'm like, no way. So if you don't like the doom and gloom, there's some ways to deal. You know, high ceilings in your house, or really good lighting in your house, big south-facing windows. That's going to give you a ton of daytime light in your house. If you're a condo dweller, consider living on the higher floors. If you can't change the structure of your house, or your house isn't like that, you can add things like sun lamps, make sure you have good indoor lighting. Exercise is key. Don't just stay in your house cooped up with the shades drawn all winter. Make sure when you get your opportunity, you go out and get some fresh air, get a little vitamin D, go for a walk, go for a run. You just need the right outdoor gear to deal with it. If it's not raining, get out and enjoy the weather. And then, of course, the Seattle staple, coffee, espresso, coffee drinks. That's on every corner. You can get it anywhere. And I don't even go to the coffee shops. I'm a guy that likes to brew my own. There's a ton of good roasters around here. You can pick up your own. You can brew it in your automated pot. You can do pour over. You can get an espresso machine, all that. But coffee's going to help get you through the winter. Also, like I said before, plan a couple of warm weather getaways during the winter months. And then, just remember, summer is only 100 days away. And while everybody else is sweating out, you're going to be kicking back, enjoying that perfect PNW summer. Okay, so we're wrapping up our video today. We covered the 5 things that make Seattle amazing, and that's work opportunities, access to outdoor and other locations, arts and culture, sports, and weather. And we also talked about 3 things that you might not like, which would be traffic, housing prices, and once again, weather. There's 2 sides of that coin. I'm a Seattle native. I've lived in a couple other places, but I always keep coming back to Seattle. I love it. It's a great place to be. You got lots of action. You got lots of opportunity. If you guys are thinking about moving to Seattle, give me a call, shoot me a text, shoot me an email. Let's meet up. I'll take you on a tour.